So the FOD's claiming victims like crazy here. My 96 two-door Tahoe. I guess maybe the master cylinder's going bad and maybe the booster. When you start it up, you press on the brake. I don't know if you can hear that. It's like air's just bleeding. Doesn't feel like it has power brakes. Plus at times it's idle, like it's starting to idle funny and run funny. Me and my old Explorer were trying to look to see if that line is wet for the brake booster, the vacuum line. Like you're saying maybe it's putting fluid. If the master cylinder's bad, putting fluid sucking it into the intake. We are low on fluid. We had pulled this at the pick and pull in anticipation of trying to swap it into this Tahoe, and we'll see if it works. I didn't realize it. I guess some of these Tahoes came as diesels, and those usually come with hydroboost. So anyway, I guess there's a factory option for hydroboost in this vehicle. I was trying to get to the bolts, and if anybody's messed with these things before, you know it's pretty tight. I was having a lot of trouble getting in there. I got the bottom two out. And there we go. You can see. I think. Let's see. Not really. No way down there. Yeah. So there's the upper ones. They were really hard for me to get to. I couldn't really see how I was going to get to the brake attachment to the pedal from the master. So I decided I was laying in here struggling with it. I decided just to take the column down and out and all the brackets that hold it. It didn't take very long. You know, this might be a mistake. Somebody maybe with smaller hands or more dexterity could do it without going to this step, but I thought, man, I'm gonna mess around with this and waste a bunch of time trying to get it. So I decided just to pull everything. So I got two more the upper nuts to take out, and then mess with the attachment to the pedal. These right here are some of the stock lines I got for a Tahoe from Rock Auto gates to to install, or for a hydroboost setup. And then the low pressure side, we will put a T in, and I'm going to use probably a stock out of like a later model Silverado, one of the the small skinny engine or power steering coolers. They're pretty thin. I think they're like 2 rows of tubing with the fins are probably 1.5 inches by maybe 2 inches wide by 8 inches tall. See that the end of it has that little flared out piece, so that was keeping it from sliding off. And I just had to open it up, which I kind of mangled the thing up because at first I wasn't sure. I was having trouble seeing. Anyway, so you open that up and then it slid right off. I'll see if I don't know if I'm gonna, I can definitely put it back together probably, but I might need a new clip. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull off this bracket on the booster master cylinder. All right, real quick, these are the lines I bought for 96 Tahoe, two-door Tahoe with the diesel, and they're lining right up. So you can see that one there, which that one on top there is that one, and this one lines up like that, and that's going to go into the back of the power steering pump, I believe. That is this one. And as you can see, looks perfect. I mean, the stock vacuum booster for the 1500 5.7 gas motor versus the this was from a 98 2500 pickup truck with, I think it had a 454, but either way, like I said, you can get, and I didn't realize this when we were getting this, but you can get, I guess, one of these Tahoes with a diesel back in the day, and it looks like it would line up perfect. So you could get this hydroboost set up from like Rock Auto, and I can't remember what it is. I'll post a picture of it in the video. I lined up the damn stock brake booster with hydroboost, and I measured it. It's within a 1/16 of an inch, but I didn't even think to look at this. They look real close, but now that I'm looking at them, so I installed this. I had it in. I put this on the damn whatever brake pedal pin, whatever you want to call it, the pivot point on the brake pedal for this, and there was play. And now that I'm looking at it, yeah, I can see this hole's a little smaller. On here you can see C27 and C28, I think, or C26. I can't read that, but this one has the number. Let's see if we can get it zoomed right. All right, so I looked it up on Rock Auto, and I'll include a screenshot. So the rod code is C27 or C28 for the vacuum booster. And like I said, I'll include a screenshot, but so the way it is listed, it makes you think that you could get different rods for the different, vacuum or hydro boost. But it looks like, so C27 or C28 for the rod code on the vacuum boosters, and then 71803 on the hydro boost one, which there's a hydro boost one that is not, the rod code is not listed, but when you look at the pictures, it looks exactly like that rod code, like that rod. And this isn't a huge ordeal, but I think what I'm gonna have to do is measure these out, cut these at the same spot, and just weld this end on to get it to work with my brake pedal. I will booger that thing up like nobody's business. So using my super duper Husky set of calipers here, I'm just going to measure the inside diameter of the stock brake booster, which came out to 14. Yeah, right at about 14 millimeter. And then this one is coming out to right at about 16. So what I think I'm going to do, rather than try and rig up a bunch of plastic spacers for now, I'm going to go to like Lowe's and just see if they have like a brass or maybe a nylon sleeve that I could maybe modify to work a little better. Right here, something I didn't notice. You can see this little nub that catches on the brake light switch. So I'm gonna round that off just with a angle die grinder with one of those like 80 grit discs on it. All right, ran up to Lowe's and found these. I think this one is the exact same dimensions other than length, obviously. But the bronze one, that's it right there. 1/2 by 5/8 by 1 1/8. And it fits. I get back out here, messing with this hydroboost. Just took and made a mark on that on the rod of the hydroboost, and chopped it off with the old cut-off wheel. Sort of hit it on the sanding table here. So you can see. Pretty good. I think that'll be okay. Also took a little emery cloth and hit the rod that or the pin, the shaft that is on the brake pedal that this rod fits onto, just to kind of clean it up. I'll put like probably a dab of oil or something, WD-40, anything, just to help it slide on. All right, let's see if we can get a shot here of it installed. Yeah, there it is. I sanded it down just a hair more, maybe, I don't know, a 32nd or probably that, not a 16th, I don't think, just to make it a little thinner. You can see the angle doesn't look that bad. I think it'll be fine. We'll see. Worst case, I can make a different mounting plate. This is the fitting I'm going to pull off this 2500 part out truck we have to get the low pressure side hooked up for the hydroboost. So I just took that off. That's the low pressure side on the steering God dang, can't talk. Steering gearbox right there in the center. Right there. We're going to replace that with that stub, or whatever you want to call it, off that 2500. All right. I went to install the, put everything back together. And whenever I went to all this trouble to find this bushing. I've messed with brake switches before, but just to replace them, I kind of, it's got like a little lever that bumps, that the pedal somehow bumps whenever you press on it to turn on the brake lights. I got it all in, the brake lights weren't working, I started messing with it. So it turns out, and I thought whenever I got this and how tight it was, I thought, how does that operate the brake switch? Well, I'm an idiot. There has to be some play in there, I think, so that when you press on the brake pedal, the rod shifts towards you so that, well, yeah, the rod coming out of the booster will actually shift towards you, so that the pin on the brake pedal pushes against the lever on the brake switch. So if you look, so I thought, well, if you look, you can see basically the difference between, because this fits really tight on the rod from the brake pedal, and the other, well, the rod from the from the damn hydroboost setup, it fits in there tight, and then this fits on the pivot point on the brake pedal really tight. And if you compare it here, which you might not be able to see, basically the difference in this and this is the width of itself on one side. So that if you were to get rid of that there, it would be the proper amount to engage on the brake pedal. I mean, on the brake switch. But I was just kind of looking at it. So I'm just going to install it. And let's see, hold on. Let me get the old cheaters on. So I'm just going to install it. This light's about to die. I installed it on the brake pedal without any bushing. And so you can see, here, let me push that all the way on. The clip's not on it yet. That'll hold on that brake pedal, or brake switch. But you can see that little lever there? That's what it's got to actuate. And I'm just going to install it for now. With that amount of play, we'll put the clip in. And run with that for now. I got other projects I need to get done. I'm not even sure, long term, if this hydroboost is going to be, if it's going to be any better. I might end up going back to the stock brake booster, vacuum brake booster. Installing all the lines, so you can see, got them all installed. That's the way I did the T. This one here, which is the back, that one there goes to the back of the power steering pump. That line, that pressure line there, goes to the far outside of the steering gearbox, and then your low pressure return line comes out of there, feeds into the T there, then the low pressure comes out of your gearbox into the T, and then this comes out to the power steering cooler I put on, which is off of where is it? Oh, here. From this power steering cooler that we're gonna mount behind the radiator, and like a new NBS truck, like my white truck. And for now, I just zip tied it here, and we'll see. Let me see if you can see up under there. We'll see how it's gonna work, and if it works good, I'm gonna stay with this setup. I'll make a permanent mount later when I go to replace like all this grill, because this grill's got a lot of damage. It's the original grill. All right, got it all installed, and the pick and pull hydro boost is leaking out of the accumulator. I was afraid of that. So I went over and grabbed this hydroboost out of a 04 2500, and as you can see, the rod to the brake pedal is way different. I'm gonna pull this out and check if everything else fits, like the lines and everything. Just looking from there to it on the vehicle, it looks almost identical, except for the master is bigger on this 04. What I may do, I'm gonna pull this one off the Tahoe that came out of a 98 2500, which is basically, I could order these new for this Tahoe, and that might be what I end up having to do. But I think there might be some improvements on, because those would like come with the Duramaxes and stuff, the one that came off that 04. And I will take this hydroboost out to compare them. May end up threading this and, you know, cutting this, threading them both, or I kind of did a quick measurement with a caliper, cheap caliper I have. This looks a little thicker, so I might try and find something, some all thread or something that'll thread onto this, thread it if it's thick enough after I cut it, if it looks like I can get good threads on it, and then cut this one and weld on the all thread so that I can just replace these, you know, with the 04 model hydroboost, and then just swap out this end, which this end will fit a little better on my brake pedal than even the one that's in there now.